Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Board of Commissioners meeting for Candy, Ohio County for Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026. Please stand for the pledge.
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to thank everybody for being here today and for picking us up on YouTube as well. We will be asking for the approval of the agenda, but we have two items that we wish to add to the agenda. Kelsey, you want to run those through us here?
Sure. We have two additional, as Commissioner Gardner said. One of them I would like to add to the consent agenda. It's another gambling permit for Wild Haven Sportsman's Club. It will be an event held at Smile and D Arenas in Colfax. They have done everything that they needed to do for the forum. They've had the township sign off on everything. The event is in May, but she got it in just a little bit late, but I figured it's a pretty standardized form. We already have another gambling permit, so I'll pass this around. So this is, if anybody would like to see it, that is something I would like to add to the consent agenda. And then Tammy Jo Lieberg with Community Corrections just needs to update the board on a grant process. And so I would like to add her to the agenda, and she has also spoke with the board chair on this, just ahead of me on the agenda.
And where are you going to put,
I'm sorry?
where are you going to put it on the agenda?
We'll make that the 925 item, so right at the bottom of
Gotcha.
page one.
And the gambling permit would just go within the consent agenda.
Here you go. All right, so with, and there is, Tammy Jo's item is not an action item. This is for information only, so that's why we felt comfortable adding that. So with those two additions, would there, someone like to move the agenda?
Mr. Chair, also move.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda with the two additions. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion passes. Thank you. And then we will move to the consent agenda, which consists of the approval of the February 17, 2026 County Board legal minutes, approval of auditors' warrants and claims, Prairie Pothole gambling permit for September 12, and Wild Haven Sportsman's Club gambling permit as well. Are there any of those items that commissioners wish to pull? Hearing none, then I accept a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Mr. Chair, I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Dwayne. Motion is made, and is there a second?
I'll second it.
Commissioner Dale Anderson seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That motion passes. All right, at this time, our Auditor Treasurer, Lisa Weiss, is bringing forward for us the 2025 gravel tax report. Lisa, good morning.
Good morning, Lisa Weiss, Candy, Ohio County Auditor Treasurer. This morning I'm presenting the annual gravel tax report. State statute sets the rates for the gravel tax, so those rates are 21.5 cents per yard or 15 cents per ton. In 2025, we had 16 operators that reported the extraction of 360,053 yards of aggregate materials and 673,383 tons. That represents a tax collection of $178,419.61. The state statute also dictates the disbursement of those tax funds. So the first 5% of the collections are going to the Auditor Treasurer's Office to offset the expenses of administering the gravel tax. That amount is $8,920.98. Then the remainder 95% is distributed 42.5% to the township in which the gravel pit that the extraction occurred from, 42.5% goes to the County Road and Bridge Fund, and then 15% goes into a special reserve fund that can be used for reclamation needs for abandoned pits, should that ever arise. So the total of the township's distribution is $72,036.92. That is the same amount that will go into the County Road and Bridge Fund. And the addition this year into the Special Reserve Fund is $25,424.80. That brings the balance in the Gravel Reserve Fund to $369,449.16. So what it appears has happened in the past is that there's an approval of the gravel tax report and the distribution of those funds.
All right. Are there any questions for Lisa in regard to the report? And the distributions are that right-hand, on the second page there in that right-hand column.
Correct.
To the specific townships, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right, and so we need a motion to accept the report?
Correct.
All right.
Mr. Chair, I so move to accept the gravel tax distribution report as stated.
Thank you. There's a motion to accept the report. Is there a second?
I'll second that, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Motion and a second. Discussion? All right, hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion passes. And
Thank you.
Lisa, thank you so much. At this time, we have Mel Odens with a couple of items for us. The first is Resolution 2026-15, authorizing a MnDOT tour, a detour agreement.
Correct.
Mel, good morning.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, Mel Odens, Public Works Director. First item on your agenda is a detour agreement with MnDOT and Kansas County, which is a pretty common process that we use when they do construction and they use one of our roads for a detour. In this case, they're going to be doing a turn lane on County Road, or Trunk Highway 40 in the vicinity of the industrial park. They're going to be adding a turn lane. And so what they're going to be doing is closing Highway 40 in, beginning in July and hopefully completing it in August. And they will take Highway 40 traffic, go north up to Highway 12, east over to our County Road 5, and then southerly back down to Highway 23 or 15 or wherever they so choose to go. So the detour is supposed to last approximately 6 weeks, and the road life consumed and maintenance of that road is calculated using the gas tax method of $2,362.68. And so it's my recommendation to pass Resolution 2026-15 and authorize the chair and administrator to sign on behalf of the county.
For the recommendation of the director, is there a motion?
I'll make that motion to pass Resolution 2026-15.
Thank you. Commissioner Dwayne Anderson moves. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Commissioner Dale Anderson seconds. Discussion. And Mel, I believe this is a project that is providing another ingress-egress into the industrial park / rail park.
Correct. That is exactly what it is. It's just east of the bridge over the tracks. Yep.
And those were some grant funds that were received, I think.
Yep. The city of Wilmer, I believe they were the TED money, the Transportation Economic Development money. They received to fund most of the project. There might have been a match on their part, but it's basically for another access into the industrial park.
Yeah, I think that there was some involvement by KCED on
I would imagine there would
on
be.
that as well.
Yeah, I would imagine.
I know that those funds were allocated a few years ago,
Yep.
and now they're just finally getting it on the schedule here, so.
So if you do get a phone call on it, it was supposed to be done last year. And so it was not supposed to line up perfectly with our project because they were gonna take 55. And so the detour in essence is nothing. But then it got delayed, and so they're doing it at the exact same time we're doing our 55 south of there. So there's gonna be a little bit of construction going on in that quadrant down there. Our 55 from 40 south to the bridge, and then this turn lane. Now, the good part is the turn lane should only be 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks if it rains. And ours will be starting earlier than that and be most of the summer, so.
Okay. And are there any questions for Mel? Commissioner Berg?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. More of a comment than anything else. It kind of points out all these projects, there's so many little pieces to them. You know, the Y, we celebrated the completion of the Y a few years ago, actually, and still, this is all kind of part of that whole process in a sense. It's all connected. So that's exciting to get that done. This is a big piece of it. And I do have a question about that. Is there other pieces yet coming up besides this? And we got the bridge too coming up. And maybe if you can comment on that. But I had a question or just a comment. It's going to get really busy on the roundabout then by the railroad tracks on 5 there, I would assume, because of
Right,
the
right, that
detour.
is, you know, and that's
Heads up
been,
to people.
that's been a concern area on Highway 12 and 5. Yes, yeah, that's been a concern. Because when the train is there, the roundabout gets kind of plugged.
Yes. But we'll make it through it, right?
Yeah,
And maybe just,
yeah.
and it'll be great afterwards. Thank you.
Right.
Could you just comment about any other projects besides the bridge?
No, I think the big one, and I know that there's been some consternation on the phasing of all this, but it's also the money has to be there to do the projects. And sometimes these things don't line up. And so what you do is what we try to do is strategically do the project when the money's there, but also align with projects like this one with the turn lane, even though I'm not sure what actually happened on that, whether it just was a delay in the plan preparation or a delay in some funding source, I don't know. But I do know it got delayed 1 year, or one construction season.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
And I think it's important for folks to understand, Mel, you're talking about the phasing of that bridge project and basically everything out in that area. And, you know, we need to go back to the original purpose, which was to eliminate all of those, frankly, the at-grade deadly intersections down in that area on Highway 23 and 5. So, like I said, the funding wasn't there all at once to do it all at once, and so we do the best with what we have to make it, and ultimately, we're saving lives by doing it.
Yep, they'll all be grade separations now. No at-grade crossings. And that plays into the hand of expanding the industrial park to eliminate the conflict between train and semi.
Exactly. All right, any other questions for Mel? All right, we have a motion to move on Resolution 2026-15. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion passes. And Mel, you have a final payment and acceptance for us.
Yeah, this is the Edwards Township Bridge. We had 4 bidders on this project. Asheville Companies out of Cokato. This is a bridge, you might recall, that we closed about a year ago. And we were able to get the plans done and get it bid. But it was closed for the good part of a year. And so this was one of the 3 bridges that were closed. We eliminated one, we got one open, we still have one closed. But anyway, this is the Edwards Township Bridge. It was, the work began in October. It was completed November 14 as a 3-week project. Asheville Companies out of Cokato, their low bid was $381,513. The project's been completed, and this payment releases the final retainage, the 1% retainage. So it's my recommendation to accept the project and make final payment to Asheville in the amount of $3,800.30.
All right, you've heard the recommendation from Mel. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I'll make that motion.
Thank you. And a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion passes. Mel, thank you so much. All right, we're going to have Jody Ammerman come up and, as our public health manager, Joint Powers Agreement for Healthy Kids Minnesota. Jody, good
Yes.
morning.
Good morning. Jody Ammerman, Public Health Manager. In January, I shared about the Healthy Kids Minnesota program that Minnesota Department of Health is doing across the state of Minnesota, and how our public health agency has the opportunity to partner with the program. The Healthy Kids Minnesota is a program from the Minnesota Department of Health working to better understand children's exposure to chemicals that may harm development in children. So today I have the Joint Powers Agreement with a budget that is fully funded through the Minnesota Department of Health, and it is not to exceed $13,954.53. So today I ask for your approval to move forward with that.
All right. And so you've heard the request from Jody. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. We have a motion to approve the Joint Powers Agreement. Is there a second?
I'll second that, Mr. Chair.
All right, motion and a second, discussion. And Jody, so this is basically something where they're going to recruit, 250, 300 children per region each year. And how does that process play out? They're just not doing this at random, correct? They're doing it with the full, with parental knowledge of what's going on.
Yes.
Would you kind of explain that piece
yes.
of it for folks who might be
Absolutely.
going, "No, this is not comfortable to me"?
Yes, so absolutely. So Minnesota Department of Health reached out to the school districts in our region. So not only our county, the other counties in the region, and the school districts. So they will have a separate joint powers agreement, and the Wilmer School District then signed their joint powers agreement as well. And I'm not sure the other counties that have signed or agreed, but we are one of several in our region that will do this. And each year they will do a rural and then a urban area. So I believe they're gonna be in northern Minnesota and then our south central region for this year. And so in each region, they're looking to get 250 to 300 children. So in the Wilmer area, we will get a part of that number. And so how it works is the Wilmer School District does early childhood screening twice a month, so 2 days a month. And so we will be at those screenings. The nurses will do this part of it. So they will send out a letter to the parents ahead of time informing them of this program. And then during the screening, if they are interested in doing that, they will go through a survey, they will sign a consent, and then the parent will actually take the child and privately into the bathroom and get the urine sample. And then once the parent and the child leave the restroom, then the nurse will gather the sample.
So there's full transparency to the parents. This is,
Yes.
this is something that they're going to be fully aware of. And the
Yes.
whole idea is to be testing for chemicals in the environment that, that might delay
Harm
or
their
adversely
development.
affect early childhood development.
Correct. Yes, and then they do get a $40 gift card for participating in the program, and then a free well test kit with that. And then in the results, then they will be aware of the results.
Okay.
And they've had like 60 to 70% participant rate
Okay.
across the state, so.
Outstanding. Any questions? Commissioner Bird?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a quick question. Maybe you did state it and I missed it. When do you expect the results of something like this? This sounds like a very great
Within-
study. Yeah.
Within the year, they said if they find some concerning results right away, they contact the parents right away and do some education and find out what is in their environment that would be causing these high results. So that is good to know. Otherwise, they send out within the year the region's results.
Sure, may I follow up? I'll be looking forward to hearing the results and an update on that. It sounds like good collaboration and a good plan. It's good for our communities. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else, any questions? All right, very good. Then we have a motion and a second to approve the joint powers agreement for Healthy Kids Minnesota. All in favor, say aye.
Hi.
All opposed? That motion passes. Thank you so much, Jody.
Thank you.
Next, we have Dr. Tammy Jo Lieberg with some information for us on a grant.
Good morning.
Tammy Jo, good morning.
I'm just going to pull something up real quick, just to help. If I can. There we go. Good morning. Dr. Tammy Jo Lieberg. I am here to ask for approval to apply for a grant. And just a real quick update on our ARIS co-responder model. We have had our ARIS program up and running through a grant, through the opioid grant project through the state of Minnesota for the last couple of years. It is a collaborative project through the county attorney's office, the sheriff's department, social services, and community corrections, where we have 2 social workers embedded within social services and within our community corrections. And I'm using this graph, if I can get it back, to kind of show, keeps going away, why it's important. If you can see how somebody goes through our systems. The importance of our ARIS model and our goal is to reduce the number of 911 calls and our jail bed days and recidivism risk for individuals with chemical dependency and mental health concerns. And when we start at the top, or either with a mental health case or a 911 call with opioids or chemical dependency, and they call 911, and then they go through our system, sometimes those mental health cases or a CD issue, they don't belong in our jail. And our whole purpose of ARIS, our alternative response intervention systems, is that we're looking to stop those calls or provide some services at an earlier intervention point, which is called an intercept model. And that's kind of what you see here, is we're looking at all of those touch points. Where can we stop that from having more victims in the community, more jail bed days, more contact with law enforcement, more crimes committed in the community, if we can do an early intervention, either before they commit a crime or before they commit more serious crimes. And that's why we have involvement with probation, with social services, with the county attorney's office, with law enforcement, with dispatch. And we have joint mental health meetings trying to address where can we do those early interventions with individuals with, for lack of a better term, we might call our high flyers, our frequent flyers, the people that we all know are struggling in our community, but we need to come up with where are those interventions happening. Over the last couple of years, we've done a lot of interventions, been able to work with those individuals and had quite a bit of success. We actually just had a meeting with our grant managers last week, and they were able to meet with some of the individuals that we've actually had a significant impact in their lives. We've had people have talked about the success and how grateful they've been. Sadly, this year we were not picked up on the opioid grant intervention project through the state. We're going to have an opportunity to apply again here in a couple months, and hopefully we'll get into the next round of the grants. So we've been looking at other options, and right now, next week, we're going to apply for a smaller grant project through the Department of Public Safety. And so that's what I'm here today to ask for your approval to apply for that grant project. I don't actually need a memorandum or a formal approval, just I need your approval to apply for that grant. It would be, again, a smaller version for now. Social Services and our grant group is going to continue to apply and look for other options in the future. Like I said, the opioid grant probably in April or May, but this would hopefully keep us going on a smaller basis for the next 2 years for the ARIS model.
Okay, and so you don't need a formal approval from us, you just need a
I just need
a head nod.
a head nod
yes, you
essentially,
should-
or maybe
you
a
should
formal
apply for
approval,
this
but I
grant.
don't need a signed approval. Maybe that's
Yeah.
the way to do it. I don't need a signature, I just need your approval to say, yes, go ahead forward, asking for the request for the grant.
Yeah, that's how I understood it. And this is basically to continue and build upon the efforts that you've already been doing
Yes.
to divert some of these cases, because let's face it, it's not a crime to be mentally ill.
No, and
you know,
hopefully, you
and-
know, and we hope to provide you with, you know, we're in the middle of an evaluation project, and so in April or May, as we get closer to this, we're gonna provide you with a more updated, higher level, updates with our evaluation project of all of the things that we've been doing, through our, collaborative model and some of the great stories and things that have occurred during the last couple of years.
Sure. And if you are someone who has mental health concerns, that jail, for example, isn't necessarily going to be the best place for you to be in. And it's not a great thing to have someone who suffers in that way in the jail. It's just, it's tough on the entire system. So
It is very
you're trying
hard.
to divert them from that type of a process.
To divert them or get them out sooner, transition them out sooner,
Okay,
or keep them from coming back in, right? So that's why we have, like, if you can see from the flow chart, there's multiple, it can be confusing, right? But we start out up here at that early intervention point, but we keep working all the way through the system, trying to find where can we divert them into a different place in the process to keep them from coming back into the jail. And some of that is providing our cognitive behavioral groups. Some of that is helping connect them with our coffee connection in the community to help them with pro-social support systems. Some of that is helping provide them with housing that, so that they're not on our street. This week, we had somebody who would have been out in the blizzard this week and last week in the cold. There's lots of different ways that we're trying to prevent that. Instead of the only option of them being in our jail, what other option do we have?
got it. Any questions? Dwayne?
So do you have an idea what the grant amount would be?
So the new grant that we're looking at would be $150,000 a year for 2 years. The second grant will be coming back for will be a little larger, but we're hoping to combine them to create a more seamless system. But again, that depends on if we get either or both or one or the other. So we're working together as a collaborative project to say, okay, what can we do as a community to follow this? And it is based on this evidence-based sequential intercept model that kind of you can see through this, where can we do these touch points, working as a collaborative group through the law enforcement, probation, the police department, the county attorney's office, and social services.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else with questions? Commissioner Anderson?
So Tim, Joe, if we do get these grants, at the end of it, what happens? I mean, are we gonna have to fund this somehow to keep this project going, or what happens at the end of that?
So every grant does look at what is your ability to, ongoing funds or different things. Some of them have the ability for ongoing dollars. Some of them don't. These both have some options for that. But yeah, there's always, what are our options? I can't,
Sure.
we would be looking at, hopefully, is this successful? But at the same time, if we can reduce funds, if we have somebody that we're reducing how much we're spending at a higher level, we may be able to show through our evaluation process that this is actually reducing our costs at a higher level through child protection, through probation, through jail bed days, through dispatch calls, through the amount of dollars that we're spending with people in a different way that is actually more harmful to them than what we're spending helping them.
Yep, no, I understand, thanks.
All right, anyone else? All right, so we don't need a vote, but a head nod.
So a vote, maybe, okay, so I would
enough.
request a vote for permission to apply for this grant on,
It's okay to
with the
vote?
Department of Public Safety.
All right, let's vote on the request then to pursue the grant. I need a motion.
Mr. Chair, I so move that we approve the application for these grants.
All right, and is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, that motion passes. All right,
Thank you.
we'll get it. Thank you. All right, at this time, we're going to have a discussion in regard to the first review of a slow, no-wake watercraft ordinance restriction on designated lakes. And we're going to have Administrator Baker, and Austin is going to come up and lend some support, it looks like.
Good morning, Kelsey Baker, Candy Ojai County Administrator. Before you today, we have the first review, as the board chair said, for the Candy Ojai County Slow No Wake Ordinance. So this ordinance establishes a clear, objective, and consistent process that we can implement here in Candy Ojai County. Rather than a reacting by a case by case, this ordinance will provide predetermined trigger elevations, and that's where Austin has come in to help with some of that. And this also improves transparency for lake residents, recreational users, and law enforcement. The county does have legal authority under statutes 375.51, 86B.205, and 459.20. And then Minnesota Rule 6110.3700 regarding the high water, slow, no wake restrictions. So we are within our delegated powers as a county board. The purpose of this ordinance, along with public safety, is protect shorelines and infrastructure during high water seasons, which we experienced last year. I think a lot of your phones were blowing up over some of these lakes. To help reduce erosion and property damage, protects docks, lifts, retaining walls, public access points, promoting safety for boaters, swimmers, and property owners, and then preserving environmental quality. Austin will go into, like I said, some of these trigger points for the elevations. Once that elevation is reached, the slow no wake automatically goes into effect. The restriction remains until the water drops 0.1 feet below the trigger for 3 consecutive days. That is listed within the ordinance. This will ensure predictability, fairness, along with the data-driven decision-making alongside those elevation points. The slow no wake means no more than 5 miles per hour, minimum speed necessary to maintain steerage. This applies 24 hours per day, applies to all watercraft designated for lake during activity. And this is temporary and tied strictly to the water levels within the ordinance. The enforcement would fall under Candy Ojai County Sheriff's Office. Prior to today, Austin and I have met with Sheriff Tullifson and some of his team members regarding the information. They had some feedback that we inputted and changed into this ordinance. Conservation officers with the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources also may enforce violations or misdemeanors under Minnesota law. The county would post this notice on the county website, notify local media. We would place signage at public access points, install buoys where necessary, and our goal is to be proactive communication and not surprise enforcement. In conversations with the sheriff, we're not out to get anybody. This would just be in a moment like last summer that we would this ordinance would go into effect then. Like I said, the ordinance balances recreational boating, shoreline protection, property rights, environmental stewardship, and public safety. It ensures that when our lakes are at normal water levels, boating continues as normal. Restrictions are tied strictly to the elevated water conditions. Long-term benefits for this are it protects long-term shoreline integrity, reduces public and private repair costs, provides consistency year after year within this ordinance, and supports responsible water management in Candy Ojai County. We believe that this ordinance is very fair and objective to our landowners and our lake users. Candy Ojai County is a lake county, and we are very proud of that, but we also want to protect our shorelines and protect the users that are utilizing the lakes when there are high water conditions. I'm gonna hand it over to Austin to explain the water levels and how we came up with that a little bit. I would propose that we would have a public hearing April 7th at 9 a.m. The county board would have to vote on scheduling that public hearing. In conversations before I hand it over to Austin, we went around and round, and he'll probably go into this a little bit, but our designated lakes within Candiota County are listed within your board packet within the ordinance, would be Lake Andrew, Big Candy, Ojai Lake, Diamond Lake, Eagle, Elkhorn, Florida, Games Lake, George, Green, and Long Howick, and then Long Wilmer, Ness Lake, and Norway, which includes the channel into West Norway as well. And so we, like I said, Austin will go over some of these levels, but we felt that we were on the middle ground, listing out most of these lakes. And we looked at more so high recreational lakes compared to if they're fishing lakes or something like that, like Ringo. And so we didn't put all of the lakes that we had originally discussed internally, but we really looked at recreational lakes where you get the big wake boats, where you're getting that high wakes. So those are the ones that were added to this list. So if you have any questions for me, I'll hang around, and I'm sure if there's anything else you need, Austin can handle that as well. But I'll pass it over to Austin to explain this.
Thank you.
Morning, Mr. Chair, board members, Austin Hilbrands, Drainage Manager. As Kelsey said, I helped make some of these graphs, come up with the wake restriction for you guys. Let's pull this up. So, yeah, like Kelsey said, we took your guidance from the 2025 meeting and added all main recreational lakes in Candiota County. And I believe we changed it all the lakes to 300 feet for a wake restriction.
And that was per, I think if you recall, last summer, we had done a temporary 150 feet. Per public input and communication, I think, with some of the commissioners, that's where that 300 feet came about. So we did increase that 150 to 300 feet per community feedback.
In your packets, you should have a map that shows you where 300 feet falls on each lake. We also threw out the graphs that I made last time, just letting you and the public know that. Okay. So for the graphs there, first I started by merging all the county lake elevation data with the DNR data this time. So we get a lot more accurate data set, I would say. These elevations are gonna be in the 29 datum. Combining this data set will hopefully show all the peak elevations for each given year, but there's no guarantee that either entity captured that either. But this is the best data that we have available. So when you look at the graphs there, the blue dots would be the individual elevation readings for that given year. The year is listed at the bottom there. On the left, it shows the elevation, and that's again in the 29 datum. So that's what the DNR uses for most of their water level readings. So that's what we'll stick with. There is a conversion to get it to the new datum that newer GPSs use, but that's all going to be based on location. So. Your black lines is gonna be the control elevation that I got from the DNR. So whether it be a dam or an outlet pipe, or most of them are dams, I guess. Your yellow line would be the ordinary high water level. So that ordinary high water level is set by the DNR in the 1970s. It's basically the elevation delineating the highest water level that has been maintained for a sufficient period of time to leave evidence upon the landscape, commonly the point where natural vegetation changes from aquatic to terrestrial. And then it's used in public water works permits and zoning regulations. And then the red is that proposed wake restriction trigger. So how did I come up with that wake restriction trigger? So I looked at each lake individually, trying to be objective as possible with the data available. For lakes that consistently went above the ordinary high water mark, I set that wake restriction trigger to cover the upper 50 to 25% above the ordinary high water mark. Based on that historical elevation data back to 1980s, so 45 years. For lakes that did not consistently go above the ordinary high water mark, I left it at the ordinary high water mark. Then after I set all those, I individually went through each lake, and there's individual factors that play into each one as well, if we moved them. So As soon as you introduce, personal experience, even local lake association comments, public comments, it no longer becomes objective but subjective, and that's why I turn it over to you guys. So for final decisions, and then that's also where that public hearing comes into place. So we can go through these graphs quick. Let's see. So the first one that's on the list there is a little out of order than what the ordinance has, but it's Big Candy Eye Lake. This one was set at 1103.8, so the red line there. So it captures that upper portion where the water's the highest. Originally had it at 1104, but going back through Big Candy Eye Lake, the outlet is really slow. There's actually a very large watershed coming through Big Candy Eye Lake, so I did lower it by 0.2 feet to 1103.8. Like I said, it still captures all the high events. If you have any questions on these as I go through them, otherwise we can come back to them too if you prefer. So the next one I got is Diamond Lake. Again, I set it to capture all the high events. This one consistently goes over its ordinary high water mark. Again, set it to capture that upper portion of the events that go over above the high water mark. And that's kind of where I set that one. Eagle Lake doesn't consistently go over its high water mark, but except for a couple times. It is in the upper end of the watershed, so I did raise this one 0.2 feet above the ordinary high water mark. Do you want the specific, or you have that in the ordinance there, so, okay.
Austin? Just a quick question here. I see that on that map, it shows Point Lake on there as well, but that's not under this ordinance,
Correct, Point Lake was removed, yes, yep. I'll redo that graph, or that map that you have, so, yep.
Okay, thank you.
So Elkhorn does consistently go above the ordinary high water mark. Elkhorn's pretty unique. The outlet is through a township road pipe, and then it's actually set by a private driveway pipe. So I set this to capture, again, the higher amounts, and that actually corresponds pretty close to where the county opens a rearing pond valve as a secondary outlet for when Elkhorn gets high. That's not set in stone yet, but that's what we're working with the DNR on at this time. So that matches pretty close to that number. So. Games Lake, we separated Games Lake from Norway Lake, even though they are in kind of the same chain. Norway Lake has more influence from drainage systems on the western end and a bigger watershed, I guess, technically. But so again, set this one to capture those upper events above the ordinary high water mark. Consistently goes above the ordinary high water mark again. And for Games Lake, Norway Lake would be set like 0.25 feet higher than Games Lake, just because of water levels. When we get to that graph, you'll see that as well. George Lake is influenced by Ness Lake, so it does get backflow. There was a discrepancy with the DNR on what the control elevation is. I have that now, but it did not get plotted on this map, or on this graph, I should say. So in the next, before the public hearing, I'll have an updated graph for you with the black line showing where the outlet is set at. Again, George Lake is in the upper end of the watershed. So I did set it 0.2 feet above where Ness Lake is set. So when we get to Ness Lake, you'll see that Ness Lake is at 1166.8. So again, capturing the uppermost portions, again, where Ness Lake backfeeds into George Lake. Green Lake does not consistently go above the ordinary high water mark. It only has in the last 4 years. So we left this one at the ordinary high water mark. Obviously 2025, we set records. Lake Andrew as well does not consistently go above the ordinary high water mark. So we left that one at the ordinary high water mark. Lake Florida, same thing. It's kind of off to the side on its watershed. It does not go above the ordinary high water mark. We left it at the ordinary high water Long Lake by Howick, I think is influenced, it is at the upper end of its watershed, but there are some hills that come into it. So that does jump pretty high, and consistently goes above its ordinary high water mark. So I set it to capture those higher events.
Commissioner Berger.
Just a quick question or comment. Looking at Long Lake, when you get these lakes that are narrow and long, it's almost 300 feet across all the way.
Correct, yeah.
All the way
there's-
along, so it's gonna be a little hard there for the people. If I lived out or had a place there, I would just be careful on the whole lake when it comes right down to it.
Yep, when we implement the 300-foot on that lake specifically, it's
Yeah.
gonna, there's gonna be portions where you will not be able to travel straight through when you're out in the middle anyway.
But if I may follow up, you've done an excellent job, though. This is really a lot of pieces to this, put this
Sure.
together, so.
I believe, was that lake, did that lake have some buoys or something marking?
Yep, they already do, I believe.
Through that narrow stretch, I believe yep,
I've used
there
to
is
fish on it.
some restriction there already, so. Long Lake by Wilmer, again, consistently goes above its ordinary high water mark. It's at the upper end of its watershed. I mean, Ringo comes into it, Ringo and Twin, I guess, but set it to capture those higher events. Ness Lake is influenced by the middle fork of the Crow River, and the dam is at the direction of the DNR. The dam is continuously evaluated, I guess, to match what is coming out of New London, and they call it run of the river elevation. So in my opinion, or this one that we capture, again, the higher events, but Ness Lake doesn't seem to jump that high because that dam is always being modified. Boards are always being adjusted in that to match what's coming out of New London. So, and then again, it's a slightly less than George Lake, about 2.2 feet. So, and then we got Norway and West Norway, again capturing those high water events. Again, it consistently goes above its ordinary high water mark. So, I think that's the last one. Any questions on those?
Any questions for Austin or for Kelsey?
I just have a comment.
Commissioner?
I just want to thank Austin. You've been pretty responsive to the lake associations, I believe, and you've listened to them, and I think they appreciate that, so thank
Sure.
you.
Yep.
Any other questions? So then what we need to do is set a hearing date, and the suggestion was for, where did I?
April 7th.
April 7th at 9 a.m.
Yes,
Here
that
in
gives,
the boardroom.
if there were to be any changes today, that would give staff time to make those changes. And then that gives us time for the correct posting in the newspapers.
All right,
So I believe all 5 commissioners should be here on April 7th, and I figured if we did the public hearing right at 9.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to set the hearing date for the first review of the, or no, it'd be
It would
for the
be-
ordinance.
Yeah,
to
for
set-
the slow no wake
Okay,
ordinance, yep.
yeah, for the slow no wake ordinance for April 7th at 9 a.m.
all right, we have a motion to set that public hearing. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Motion is second. And any further discussion? Any questions? All right, hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion passes. All right, thank you. We have that on the docket for the next time around. Austin, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We are through our business. We have some time for administrative updates. We'll start with Administrator Baker.
In speaking with Mel Odens this morning, we would need to change the work session that was originally scheduled for March 17th for the Public Works work session. We just have staff conflict with that date, and so we would propose March 24th. And we could either do like a 9 to an 11 or a 1 to 3, whichever would work best for the board. And I will check with Commissioner Imdike this week too as well if the 24th works for him. But that's what we would be proposing, whichever time would work best.
I will defer to those who already have their calendars open.
Yeah. Would you repeat the dates, please?
It would move from March 17th to March 24th. It's a Tuesday.
Yep.
That works.
I'm just looking, I know I have a dental appointment at 11, and I need to keep that, but, let's see. Oops. I thought I added something else in.
8:30? Okay,
Hang
Yeah.
on here.
As I see in my calendar, we had both Monday or Tuesday reserved as a possibility, right?
Monday, I think, is.
Oh, no, that's the
Isn't that
5
the
o'clock
Township
meeting. Yes,
Association?
that's what I mean.
Monday's the township.
Yeah, I have an eye appointment and a dentist appointment back to back that morning, so is it possible to do the afternoon? I don't,
I've got an FRA meeting, but I can have somebody else attend.
What if when is your first appointment, or is it in town, or?
Those are gonna be between 10 and noon,
Oh,
back to back.
okay.
So why don't we just do a 1 to 3?
Does that work out for you, Corky?
Yes, but also isn't that from 10 to 2:30, the Lake Association conference that we're all invited to? Did anybody else get that?
I seem to remember something about it.
Yeah,
but-
it's, all the lake associations are getting together for, or majority of the lake associations. I saw that in an email. You saw that too, Steve?
I think I saw something on it.
Yeah,
Yes, it's March 24 from 10 to 2:30.
yeah.
From 10 to 2:30. Well, those of you who are interested could go in the morning.
Or do you want to go, Rich, 8 to 10?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or, you know what I mean? It's updates, I'm sorry.
Pull your,
Yep, let's just do 8 to 10. And then you can, if you, for those that want to
Yeah.
get over to the Lake Association, would that work?
I think it would.
Right away at 8?
Yeah.
Okay.
all right. We'll make it a morning.
Yep, I'll send a calendar invite.
Perfect, thank you for that. And also of note, we have the shotgun rifle listening session coming up on March 9th, Monday evening from 5:30 to 7. And that's going to be downstairs in the multipurpose room.
So just for the audience, because I've already been asked this 3 times, we will not be making a decision at that meeting.
That's correct.
Because they think, I've been asked if that is when the decision's gonna be made, and that is just to listen to the public's input, not a decision-making.
Which, go ahead. Okay. Which does bring up the question, though, then, of the timing of when we would need to set a public hearing if we were going to do an ordinance. And I guess, talking about this process, again, like Dale says, we're not going to be making a decision that evening. We're taking input and that's it. Out of that input, once all the commissioners have heard from folks, there may or may not be a desire to write an ordinance.
Yeah, and I think after the listening session on the 9th, it would be on the board agenda on the 17th for board discussion. So if the board does want to go through with an ordinance, that would be at that meeting that they would set the date for the ordinance, or the, excuse me, for the public hearing.
So, Mr. Chair, so if we set a date for the public hearing, then most likely, then that would be probably at the board meeting on the 7th of April.
Not necessarily, because you'd still have to draft an ordinance, correct?
Oh, okay.
So it would, I mean, it's probably gonna be in April. It has to be in April, because we've gotta, if we were to do something, we would have to notify DNR of what we did or didn't do.
So probably more by April 21st board meeting then. Just
Well-
looking at-
Potentially.
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 Potentially, yes.
Yep, yep.
Just so we know the framework of all this.
Yep.
Nice to plan, you bet.
But we're looking forward to having that listening session, and I know we've all already heard from a lot of folks, but want to make sure that everybody who wants to weigh in on this before we decide whether or not to set a public hearing, they're going to have an opportunity. So, all right. Do we have any appointments? Anything? Any calendar events? Some of us are going to be leaving today for St. Paul. It's our annual AMC legislative conference, our Day on the Hill, where we'll be talking with our representatives and senators and so forth. And so we're looking forward to that as well. Commissioner Berg, you look like you're kind of ready to.
For report outs?
If you
Okay,
would
I am
like to
ready.
lead us out on report outs, that would be great.
That'd be fantastic. I do have something before I get into my report out. I'd just like to share some personal information, if you will. And then I'll go forward with that comments now. After careful consideration, I wish to formally announce that I will not be seeking a third term this year as Candioi County Commissioner for District 1. District 1 represents roughly the western and northern portions of the city of Willmar. This decision fulfills the original goal I had set first when running for office in 2018 to serve 2 terms totaling 8 years if elected. I am making this announcement early to allow interested residents of District 1 ample time to explore the opportunity to run for this position. Candidate filing opens on May 19th. As I enter the remainder of my second term, I remain fully committed to finishing strong. I will continue to serve the residents of Candioi County, the region, and the state of Minnesota to the best of my ability through the conclusion of this term on December 31st. We are fortunate to live in a strong, vibrant community. I am deeply grateful for the opportunity to be part of the important work of the county board. It is an honor and a privilege to serve in this role and to work on this prolific number of issues facing our community. Although I have 10 months remaining in my term, I want to sincerely thank our citizens, current and past board members, administrators, and the outstanding county staff for their dedication and professionalism. Candioi County truly is a wonderful place to live. If anyone has any questions or would like to learn more about this nonpartisan, I want to emphasize nonpartisan position, I welcome the opportunity for conversation. My phone number is 320-894-3241, 894-3241, and thank you. And now I will go into my committee updates. Even though it's the last week of the month, I ended up with a lot of other meetings in addition. First off, I want to start out on one watershed plan for Hawk Creek. And I've had several meetings connected with that. Heidi Rauhorst decided to withdraw her contract for the second term. She disapproved, the board disapproved the contract with her for 3 more years. She had just completed the first 3 years of that contract as the coordinator and manager of the Hawk Creek project. She still maintains the Hawk Creek One Watershed Plan. She still is going to be the executive director of the Hawk Creek project going forward. And at this meeting, then the board of the Hawk Creek One Watershed Plan accepted that request and has been meeting to look at going forward. The good news is the whole Hawk Creek One Watershed Plan has gone through a lot, is set up, is operational. It has the reviewing committees for the grants, and it just can continue to operate, but we do need somebody to write the checks, to oversee this, and move forward. At this point, Kurt Strandberg, commissioner from Chippewa County, is the chair, and he will be working with CDS accounting firm who does the checks writing for us to make that continue so we don't get behind on any of our payments. We have a meeting scheduled the end of this month for the one watershed plan as well. And looking to the 3 watershed district, Chippewa County, Renville County, and Candioi County watershed boards to come forward with some options to look at possibly that one of them will pick up or they will share some methods of coordinating the meetings going forward. Hawk Creek, but then I want to talk about Hawk Creek Project. Also during all this time, Hawk Creek Project had their annual meeting, and it was in Renville, Minnesota. And I attended that, and they had speakers on soil testing, waste treatment, treatment of the water and runoff from the fields and so forth in the landfills, and the annual update by the director as to what took place this past year. And there's many different things in the Hawk Creek Project that they're involved in that don't always overlap the watershed district's plans as well. I attended the drug court graduation during this last 2 weeks. Judge Wenzel does an excellent job on that. It was during that little mini snowstorm we had, and they had a big Zoom meeting, and I was surprised to see that many people in drug court, and it involves a couple other counties as well as Candioi County. But there was a graduation, and it was very positive how all the individuals involved in the drug court work together and strive towards sobriety and or meeting all their plans to be able to graduate. And it was a very successful person. I attended the EDC committee, Business and Retention and Recruitment Committee, along with Chair Commissioner Gardner, and we had an excellent meeting, a lot of energy taking place, and doing some plannings going forward to make the committee more active. I also attended the EDC, the Economic Development Board meeting, and we reviewed some of the financial updates and planning for laying out the plans for hiring the new director, and I'll leave some information for the chair as well to address. And we all attended the Health and Human Services work session, and it was quite eye-opening again on some things, more so than I thought. And that's going to tie in well with tomorrow, but maybe some other people might want to work on that. And that, I also attended a mosque during this time with Commissioner Gardner as well. You were there, and you maybe can add some information to it, but it was a Ramadan activity, and we both have attended these in the past, where they is practice that they during that time that they do have a community meal. And this was an open thing to our community, that people from their community could come there and take part in the meal and share the discussion. And I'd like to say that the food was really good. There's some names of the food I cannot probably pronounce very well. And some of the food was better than others, but hey, there's some that was very outstanding, and that was nice. But also the important thing is we had good conversations, good connections, and that's all about is our community, connecting, conversations, working together. I felt so welcome there. And so welcome, and they are really part of our community, and they want to be part of our community. So it was a very positive experience. And that's the end of my updates.
Thank you very much, and I'm sure we'll have time for platitudes later, but just as you said that it's been your honor and privilege to serve on the board, it is our honor and privilege to serve alongside of you. So,
well, thank you. It's very nice of you to say that, and yeah, thank you.
Commissioner Dale Anderson.
All right, just a couple of things. We attended a library meeting on the 19th. Me and Dwayne had that night. Looking for a new person to be in charge of the library, and that process is coming along, so see how that all goes. Went to a Chippewa watershed meeting. The meeting before there wasn't a quorum, so they're gonna change some rules and some things so we make sure we always have a quorum, because some people come from a long distance and then they drove all that way and we couldn't have a meeting, so. But that's coming along. There's a lot of projects that are getting finalized, and money is being used for good projects, I think, in that Chippewa watershed district. It's always fun to see what is going on up. A lot of it gets done in Pope County, and that's where there's a lot of land that's in that watershed, so. I actually, it's probably not 100% county commissioner stuff, but I attended a soil health informational meeting at the college on Friday. It was really interesting. I got put on the panel for that and got to tell kids about soil health and what things there is to do and learn about that. Well attended by all the kids and a few people from the community, so I thought that was kind of interesting. I also attended the soil and water conservation meeting after our last board meeting on the 17th. I try to attend that as much as I can to just see what's going on in there. There's a lot of programs out there for people to sign up for, so if you have any interest in learning ways or finding ways to save some money on different practices and different things, contact the Soil and Water. There's always programs available to help with our water and quality and soil in our county. And then the Health and Human Services meeting yesterday, like Corky said, eye-opening, frustrating in a lot of ways, but very interesting, and I think we gotta keep letting our message be known to our community on how things actually are instead of what perception is. And we also need to keep working with our legislators to make a difference and see if we can get these really complicated things in health and human services, make them a lot easier. I don't think it should be so as complicated as it is, but it sure is right now, so. But that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Dwayne Anderson.
Yep, thanks, Mr. Chair. So February 19th, I had a Pioneer Land Library meeting along with Commissioner Dale Anderson, and he touched on most of that. I am on the search committee for the new director, and we have several candidates. Many of them seem like we have good candidates, and on March 9th, I believe it is, we're gonna have kind of a short meeting to kind of select, the top candidates for interviewing. So that was on February 19th. On February 26th, I had a Zoom meeting with UCAP in the wintertime. Because a lot of people come from a long ways away, they tend to have Zoom meetings so that people don't have to travel in bad weather. But we had that meeting on the 26th. And we had the audit. The audit looks really good. One thing they pointed out, the auditors, was that we have 0.1 months of basically operating income. And the reason why that is because the federal or state does not reimburse us till after we've paid the bill, show them the receipt. And that's more or less how, with all the fraud and stuff that's been going on, how things are changing, and so it makes it a lot more difficult. Basically, they have about 3 days of operating income, and so they run a very tight ship, which is what they need to do in order to keep operating. So it's good to see that we have good people running UCAP, but then it also makes you nervous when you hear that they have such short supply of cash or operating income. Anyway, then yesterday was a broadband meeting that was in Wilmer here, and I just want to update people a little bit about different projects. So the Vibrant project, Candio High and Genesee Townships, those are complete, and so far they had a 56% take rate, which means 56% of the population or the passings decided to go with Vibrant, which is nice that they got fiber to the home now. And then I think the reconnect for Roseland, Irving, and Burbank townships is finally going to get started. I guess they've had a few delay issues. They've had contractors, I think, that weren't able to do the project. So, but now they're gonna kind of move forward. So actually, that was the Wilmer one with the hometown fiber. They're on their third contractor because I don't know, one person was just issue with what they were bidding on, I guess, and the next one was it was too big for them, and now they're on the third contractor, so I think that'll go good. We also had a lot of discussion about Savea. They would like to get high-speed internet to their home. The closest that they do have fiber is about a half mile from Savea, and we're trying to help them figure out what their options are as far as getting fiber to the home and what would be the most feasible way to move forward. So I guess, one other thing with that was, now that, you know, a lot of the grant dollars and stuff have dried up, we're trying to figure out which will be the best way to move forward as a committee. So we had a lot of progress in the last several years, but now it's really slowed down. That's my report.
Thank you very much. So a lot of what I could report on, Corky has already mentioned, which is great. So, people hear enough of me during these meetings anyway. But you and I did appear on open mic on the 18th, and enjoyable as always. And as to the community Ramadan Iftar, the community meal that everyone was invited to, the theme of that event was unity through sharing. And I think it speaks to faith communities in general, that so much of community revolves around food. And being there for people in their time of need or just in simple fellowship. And that was certainly shown at that event. That's the second year now that I've been at this particular event. I've been invited to others in the past that were maybe a little more informal, but great opportunity to visit with folks that I don't always get to see, and that was sponsored through the Islamic Society of Minnesota of Wilmer, and there were some businesses and other organizations that sponsored that as well. So that was as always a great event. West Central Industries had a board meeting a week ago Monday. Drug-Free Coalition, we had a meeting this past Wednesday. And that's, we got to hear from a request for a couple of grants from some student organizations, and we were able to act on those. The KCED Joint Powers meeting, as Corky mentioned, and we are getting some applicants for the executive director position. And I can also say that we're in a similar process over at Central Community Transit. And I think that still has about another week or 10 days to run before that posting closes, and then we'll be looking to have conversation with our with whoever the search firm brings forward. And by the way, we were able to use South Central Service Cooperative for those services. I know that City of Olivia had used them in the past with to great effect, and cost effective, relatively speaking, as well. So that was nice. And let's see. That's kind of about everything. I think we had the Health and Human Services work session yesterday, and I did want to talk about that just a little bit. When we talk about cost drivers to the local levy, a lot of it has to do with federal and state mandates, and a lot of those are not funded for counties, and a lot of them require cost sharing to the counties. Well, between the federal government, for example, requiring instead of 50-50 cost share on SNAP, it's going to be a 25-75. Essentially, the county is going to have to pick up the lion's share of that going forward. And there's certainly an impact to the levy when something like that happens. It's disappointing to see a program that so many people depend upon being kind of pushed to the side, and especially something that is federally funded, run through the states, that local property taxpayers get stuck with more and more of those types of costs. Those types of things are out of our hands. And so it gets really, really discouraging sometimes to listen to some of this, but nothing tripped my trigger more yesterday than hearing about we all know that we have a need for new technology systems all across health and human services. And it seems like one of the things that we learned about yesterday is just basically a rehash of the types of systems and workflows that are not working currently. And it's incredibly frustrating to see that basically they've learned nothing over the years. We have systems dating back into the 1980s that our eligibility workers have to struggle with, and that costs us money as well, in staffing, in extra time, and it really impacts the job that we're able to do on behalf of our consumers and our taxpayers. So hopefully we'll be getting that message further across to our legislators when we meet with them tomorrow, and in further conversations. But by the time we got done, I think my blood pressure was up about 20 points, and it's awfully frustrating. We can see what needs to be done at a high level, but when it comes to execution, to coin a phrase, I think this is an old Casey Stengel quote when asked about his team's execution when he was the Mets manager back in the early days. He said, "Yes, I think they should be executed." So hopefully it doesn't come to that, and we get some relief at some point in time. I know there's not going to be a quick fix. I know that Commissioner Berg would have loved to have seen that all taken place during his term of office, but we'll keep trying to roll the stone uphill in your behalf.
Well, thank you, and it's still good to plant the seed and see it grow. That's be part of that going forward. I do, maybe if I may, Mr. Chair, that our local representatives and our legislature did approve some funding for a lot of the computer program, but there was a big disconnect in the sense it was a large amount of money, as a matter of fact. But this is going to be a very, very expensive process to go through, and maybe you could add more to that. So they're working hard at it, and we're going to have to encourage them to keep working even harder.
Right, and to your point, our legislators are well aware of this, but I think they're also under the impression that the money that has already been appropriated is going to take care of everything, and unfortunately it's not. And if we could ever get some traction at Health and Human Services. That would be, at DHS, that would be awesome. So, and I'd probably better not say any more than that, otherwise I might say something I regret. So, does anybody have anything else for the good of the order today? Otherwise, we are at the end of our business and our time here, so I would entertain a motion to adjourn. I guess I haven't ever been doing that, have I? We are adjourned.
Good, all right.